And then, so obviously, you know, like you said, you probably did everything you can at Shrewsbury, everything you could at Motherwell. And then I believe Preston, it was Preston and Glasgow Rangers that were in for you in the summer of 2013. And how early on did you know about that interest, and what did you think was the realistic next step in your career?
I didn't really know about the interest. Like, I always used to tell my agent, don't tell me unless concrete, and don't tell me when they're coming to watch, because I always found that when people came to watch, when we played Panathinaikos Champions League, Neil Lennon came to watch me because Celtic were very interested in me. And they'd sent scouts through that season, or through the last season, and they were really, really happy. So it got to the time now where Lennon is coming to watch for himself that last time before they bid for me or whatever they wanted to do. And my agent ended up ringing me and going, "Oh, Lennon's coming tonight." And straight away, you just put that added pressure on yourself that, oh my God, I've got to perform in front of Lennon. You find yourself doing silly things, you know, trying to over-impress. And he ended up leaving at half-time because I was shocking.
Yeah.
And then second half, and then second half, he kind of like, I was a lot better. But that was kind of my chance blown. But so after that, I always said to my, don't tell me they're coming, because then I can just, you know, I don't know, and I can just play my game. So yeah, that was that. And then, so it was just, with the Rangers thing, that I didn't really find out about Rangers and Preston until the end of that season. And there was interest. Sorry, there was interest there from Rangers, but it wasn't solid. Now I remember my agent was speaking to Alan McCoy's quite a lot, but it wasn't a solid thing. And Preston had come in for me right at the end of the season. I think Peter Ridsdale came and watched the game, and to not sound again, like, I played amazing, and I think I scored in that game and got 2 assists or something. And I remember my agent saying that he spoke to Peter and he said, well, he really wants that move, doesn't he? He really wants to impress us because he did really well. And obviously I didn't know that he was there. So I remember a few days later, Simon actually ringing me and saying, you know, and saying, we want you to come in and we want you to come here. And he sold it really well. And he sounded like a great guy. And then when I did my research on him and seen how many promotions he's had and stuff, it was like, I want to sign for this guy. And then it was kind of like, well, why the hell would I want to, no disrespect to Rangers, massive club, but why do I want to go and play all the way down League 3? When I'm already in the SPL with Motherwell, it wouldn't make sense. And I think we'd finished in the Europa League spot as well. So why am I going to give away all this well, no, it wasn't. We just finished that season where we were in Championship. We just finished in a Europa spot. Why am I going to go and leave a club that's flying to go down there and play in League 3 just for more money? I wasn't money driven. So I just thought, you know what, a new challenge, nearer home, everything like that. Yeah, I'm going to take Preston. And then I ended up going down there and signing that. And then obviously everything happened there.
What were your first impressions then at Preston? Would you say at that stage it was obviously a bigger club than Motherwell, a bigger club than Shrewsbury? And I think
I couldn't believe how big, like, no disrespect to Preston, but I'd never heard of Preston. I wasn't a footballing guy, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't really, I'd watch football, but I didn't know players. I didn't, like, you know, people know stats on everything. Yeah. Like, people know stats and everybody knows this and that. I wasn't really about that. I just loved playing football. That was it. That was just my whole mentality about it. So when I came to Preston, I didn't realise how big of a club it was. I didn't realise who Tom Finney was. I didn't realise that I couldn't wear bright orange boots that I'd always worn my whole life. I realised all these things.
Did you get told that about the boots? Is that something you get told?
Yeah.
Who tells you that?
Yeah. So I remember playing, I think I was 2 games in, and I remember picking the ball up to take a throw, and this fan, I could see him running down where the dugout comes. I don't know what stand it's called, but where the dugout comes, this stand here, where the boxes are and that. And I remember seeing him sprinting down from the top, And I was like, hey, you know, and the ball was kind of there. So I was jogging over to get the ball. And he comes sprinting down. And as I'm picking up the ball, he's like, you, Humphrey, you better take those boots off.
Yeah.
Orange. Who do you think you are wearing orange boots? Like, you know, we hate Blackpool and all this kind of stuff. And like, that was like my second game in. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So I remember he'd waited anyway after the game. He'd waited for me after the game and with all his mates. And it wasn't like a fighting thing. It was more of a banter thing, but he knew they were being serious. And it was like, you need to get rid of those boots. The Blackpool, we hate the Blackpool, the scum, the this, that, that. And this is where now, like at Motherwell, there was no, like the Hamilton were their rivals, but it was nothing like this. Do you know what I mean? And at Shrewsbury, couldn't even tell you who their rivals were. Like there wasn't, do you know what I mean? So I've come here now, and all of a sudden I'm just introduced to this, like 2 games in. So I ended up getting rid of the orange boots because I'm not having this every game. And I got some nice black ones. So it was just, just that. And then obviously, I think it was my first season.
We played them in that year, didn't we? Did you play in that game?
Yeah, so I was on the bench. Obviously, Super Tommy Clark became a legend after that game.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, for the rest of his Preston career. And I remember because he'd signed, the Gaff had signed Tom just before he'd signed me. And obviously, we kind of come in at the same time. And I remember, like, how much, like, he was a nobody. He scores that goal, and all of a sudden, like, Clarkie's like this big hero.
Yeah. It was mad, obviously, you know, like he was a great servant to the club, but I think without that goal, would he have become captain? Maybe not. Like you don't know. And then he's got his own flag now, and it's amazing what. Well, I
think Tommy would have become captain because obviously when you train with him and see him behind the scenes and in training and in the club and stuff, he was a leader and he was a captain. Like he was a captain. Even when he didn't play, he was a captain. Before he got the armband, he was a captain. Like he was a leader in the change room, someone that everybody looked up to. And he's probably the best captain I've played under. And I was very privileged with Tom because I played on his side. So most of the time, he was a centre-back, but the gaffer always played him right back. Or when we played, obviously, we reverted to that 3-5-2 quite early. And Clark always played the right side of it. So mine and his partnership was amazing. And before games, we always used to say to Lady and I can't remember who was left of the 3 back then, but we always used to say, don't you be letting the side down because we don't let goals in on the right side. You know, we used to have that kind of banter with the left side, and in training, we used to do a lot of crossing drills and defending drills, and we always used to do well, me and Clark. And we're like, Shock, it's the right side again, you know what I mean? Like, come on, left side, kind of banter. But yeah, I was very privileged because obviously I played on the same side as him. And he's some guy. He's some guy, and probably, like I say, one of the best captains that I've played with and under. And he very rarely shouted at you. Whenever he did shout at you or like have a go at you, you knew you'd messed up, like you'd done something wrong. Other than that, he's very encouraging. He always put his neck on the line. Like if the gaffer says, right, I want to see the skipper and talk about a few things, you know, he was the one that always put his neck on the line. He always, like, if the players weren't happy with something, he'd go and knock the gaffer's door and say, look, players aren't happy about it, whatever. So he was like, so straight away, he just became obviously a big character and a loved guy straight from that. So, you know, and I now see him winning cups again, and it just doesn't surprise me that, you know, he's won another cup because he's that sort of player, and he'll bring players around him and he'll make them so much better. So yeah, he deserves everything he gets.
But then going back to that Blackpool game, obviously it was only, take the derby out of context, it was the first round of the League Cup. Like no one really cares about that. Were you just amazed that, wow, the Preston fans are that buzzing to beat Blackpool? It was a Pat Deepdale. It was quite a nice baptism of fire for you to really understand what the club was about at that stage.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it was amazing. And like I say, when you look around the stadium and it's empty, it's massive, and then when it's full, it's just like, wow, this is amazing. The only thing I was gutted about is that I didn't start in that game. I don't think I came on.
Did you come off the bench? No?
I don't know. I can't remember back then. I don't know if I came on for the last 5 minutes or I didn't come on at all. I don't think I came on, to be honest. But yeah, it was just an experience, an unbelievable experience. And when he played the players he played the team that was experienced in playing in those sort of games. And obviously I wasn't at the time. So he probably did the right thing. So to just chuck me in a game like that, I think would have been very, not selfish, but would have been very hard for me to get to grips in that when I've never experienced anything like that. And also, like, you know, he was just looking after me. So when I look at it back now, I think that's what he was doing. But again, I think my first year or second year, obviously, we lost to Tom. And that's when, obviously, I realised how big he was. And I ended up ringing the chairman after we lost him, and I offered to retire the number 7 shirt.
Oh, really?
They didn't ask me to or anything, but I just, listen, numbers weren't, I wasn't really bothered because when I first came in, he's like godfather to my kids now. But when I first came in, obviously Ian Hume was number 7, and he was a club legend, like at that time or before Simon, anyway.
And he was wasn't he, when you came in?
Yeah. So when I came in at that season, like Simon gave me the number 7 shirt, and obviously Hume, the first time I ever met him, I think there was a bit of an animosity because I took his number.
Yeah.
From the first day I walked into that football club to now, we've been bestest of friends because I walked in. I remember him coming out of the changing room as I was walking in to get ready. I said, "Hi, mate, Chris." Bye-bye. He was like, Hume. I said, "Right, sound." Got changed, walked back down. Because it's daunting on your first day in football. I don't think people understand, like, it is daunting. You're going into a change room that you don't know anybody in.
Yeah.
It's like all these characters are around. It is daunting. So you're very nervous. Well, I always am. So when I was younger, I'm very nervous. And I'm walking around, and then Ian comes out again, and I'd forgotten that I just high-fived him. And I just high-fived him again and says, "Hi, mate, Chris, like this." And he was like, "I know you clown. You just saw me up there." Like, do you know what I mean? But I like that. And then from then, we were like the bestest of friends. So that day, so when we got chatting later on, he was telling me like of his time at Preston, and he's always been number 7 wherever he's been and stuff. So I felt bad, and like I say, numbers, I could have been number 20, like, or 38, or I couldn't care less. Do you know what I mean? So I just said, you know what, I'm going to ask if you can have your number back. And he's like, no. So anyway, I went, knocked the door, said to Simon, "Look, I'm not too fussed about a number. I just want to be here and I just want to play. So, like, can he have his number back?" And he's like, nope. Like, you know, we've given you it for a reason. We want you to be number 7. I was like, "You sure?" Because I'm not bothered about numbers. And he's like, no, we want you to be 7. So I tried to give him his number back, but
I think it's still a big thing at Preston. Like, I was speaking to my dad before, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be talking to Chris Humphrey later," and he was like, "Oh yeah, number 7. Like, obviously he's been and seen Tom Finney play and stuff, and being number 7 for Preston as a right winger is a big. But
this
thing.
is what I mean. So when I first went to the club, I didn't realise who Tom Finney was, and I didn't realise how powerful that number was. And then obviously, as I went on, and then he ended up leaving and so on and so on. And when I look back now at my career at Preston, I'm kind of glad that the gaffer said, you keep that number, because that kind of defined my career there as well. Like, I was number 7, and some legends have won that number. Do you know what I mean? And obviously when he did pass, I did offer to retire it. But Risdale said, like, you know, Peter said, "We don't do that here. So we'd like you to keep the number." And I'd like to think I did that number proud. Like, everywhere I go now in Preston, you can always tell if you did well at a club by reactions of fans when you're out and stuff, I always think.
Yeah.
And since I've retired, especially, and I go out a bit more into town and stuff with friends or with the missus or whatever, they're always like, "Oh, Humphrey, you know, can we get a picture," or whatever. And I think if they didn't like you or didn't rate you, then, you know, I wouldn't be asking for that. So, you know, I really enjoyed, I would say, it's very tough to say between Motherwell and Preston, but I would definitely say Preston's up there of the best club that I've played for, fans wise, and it's a very family based club.
Yeah.
They're very welcoming to like my mum when she came up, or carrying the kids when they came. They looked after them, really well. And like I say, yeah, it's a very nice club to be at.
I think you did the shirt number proud because, like Sir Tom, you were an old fashioned right winger.
Yeah.
Pegged it down the byline, got the ball in, which you don't always see these days. Like the old-fashioned right winger isn't always in action anymore. So yeah, going to Preston, obviously, the simple aim was to get promotion. Was it? What are your first memories of that first season? Obviously, it ended up in playoff disappointment. But what do you think of the squad overall? And
I was gutted because I was gutted that first season because I think we deserved more, and I don't remember if you can remember the playoff game back then in my first
Joey
season.
Garner's goal.
Yeah, Joey Garner's. Not when we went up to the Championship. I'm on about the first time.
Yeah, the Rotherham one. So that Rotherham.
Yeah, Rotherham.
We scored in the first leg, didn't we? And then second leg we lost. Yeah.
It was just what's his name? Is it Diamond for Rotherham? The striker, big striker.
Alex Ravel, is it?
Was it Ravel?
I think
it was
so.
One of their strikers anyway. It was on absolute fire. He scored at our place a couple of goals. And he scored at their place in the second leg. But if you remember, Kev Davis misses about 2 chances in that second leg as well.
Yeah.
He missed a chance. If you remember, did you go to the Rotherham game?
I went to the home leg, not the away one.
So the away game, it was weird, so weird. It was 5 minutes to go, and all the fans had come right up to the touchline. They'd climbed the barrier. They hadn't raided the pitch, but they were like around the pitch.
Yeah.
So they'd come over the barriers, but around the pitch. It was really surreal, like a weird thing, because they were literally on the pitch and we were still playing.
Yeah, just putting you on.
Yeah, kind of thing. And then Kev misses an absolute sitter at the end of like from about 2 yards out. But that squad was amazing in itself because when he signed, I was like, oh my God, this is Kevin Davis, man.
That's a big sign.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't believe it. And Joe Garner was another one. He was just, I liked playing with him and he loved playing with me because as, again, an old-fashioned winger, he wasn't one that wanted wingers coming inside, playing off him and stuff. He wanted a winger get down, crossing him because probably, apart from Grant Holt, Joe Garner's the best I played with. Fox in the box, that guy in the box. Anything you crossed in there, if he gets his head to it, it's a goal. He was unbelievable in the air.
He wasn't the biggest, was he? But he just jumped into anything. He just attacked anything. He had no
one of the bravest guys. Yeah, if I was to pick an 11 now to go to war, like he'd be there.
Yeah.
Because he was hard as nails, he was brave. And everyone used to say, oh, look at him, he's a fair, he's always diving and stuff. That was just play acting for a free kick. That guy was hard as nails, man.
Yeah.
Seriously hard. He used to get kicked and punched and everything in games. And he used to just get up and, do it again and again and again. So, yeah, I loved playing with Joe. We had some team, man. Lairdy was class. Lairdy's probably one of the most underrated players at Preston, I feel. Because
it was so good, and that injury, wasn't it? Jamal Campbell-Rice broke his leg, and he was still good after that, but he was absolutely on fire before that. Like he used to score.
With the leg break, I wasn't at the club then.
Oh, you know.
So I didn't see the Lairdy before I saw Lairdy. Do you know what I mean? And I thought Lairdy was flipping good when I came.
Yeah.
So he must have been unbelievable before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had him on the left, me on the right. When Gaffer went to that wing backs, it was perfect, especially as an old winger. I didn't have to go inside then. I could just go like up and down, and he was up and down. Yeah, and you had people like Hunt, so underrated, man.
Still there now, absolute legend.
I know, and
coming up for his 10th season next season.
Yeah, I think he'll retire there. He's unbelievable, great player. Obviously Bailey Wright at the time, brilliant. It was this squad that was too good for League One, wasn't it? Definitely. And probably, again, people don't really talk about him, but I loved him. I loved playing with him. He's another absolute leader, and he was so underrated. But he was probably, apart from Joe Garner, he was probably our best player. Without him, we didn't tick, and that's Welshie.
Yeah.
Welshie was unbelievable. People don't see what Welshie did. There were so many times he put fires out. You know, people would think they're through, and all of a sudden, Welsh is there, bam, nails him, or wins the ball back, starts play off again. He was so good, so good. And obviously, when you move into like my third and fourth year, obviously Super Jermaine comes in.
Yeah,
he was just was unbelievable. Daniel Johnson, best left foot I've probably ever seen. Callum Robinson comes in, and we just got better and better and better. So, you know, Chris Kirkland comes, and then Pickford comes, and then, you know, Sam Johnson came at one time. So we've had all these players that have come, and yeah, I'm surprised that it took us so long to go up. But then we finally...
So first season, obviously, the disappointment of losing at Rotherham.
Yeah.
Second season for yourself, was it just a case of we've got to do it this time? Like, what was the message from Simon Grayson for that? Was it, right, get over the disappointment, we go again? Were you hurting for a bit, or was it just like, we've got to do it this time, we're better than this?
No, I don't think it was, and that's the beauty of it. There was no pressure. Like, Simon never ever put pressure on us. He just got us back in that pre-season. He said, look, it didn't happen. Yes, we're going to be gutted. You're probably going to be gutted for the first 3 to 4 weeks of your off-season. But when we come back, it's a new season and we go again. And he said, yeah, okay, football is football. Some of you may not be, well, some of you won't be with us and you'll go elsewhere. And the rest that are with us will improve again and we'll go again. And that's exactly what he did. You know, he got rid of who he felt he needed to get rid of. He brought in the likes of Jermaine and Paul Gallagher and all these kind of guys, Callum Robinson and DJ and Neil Kilkenny, who is an absolute footballer, by the way. He brings in all these guys. And then what happens? He goes up. So, you know, he knew what he was doing. And yeah, he never put any pressure on us. And even up to that game when we drew, we drew or lost, and then we would go into the playoffs.
The Colchester game, isn't it?
Yeah, Colchester away. On the bus on the way back, we're driving. It's the most silentest bus journey for the first half an hour I've ever been on. And I remember at the back of the bus, we were all sat at the back of the bus. Gaffer gets up to walk back, and everyone goes, oh my God. Because he didn't really say anything after the game. He hadn't really give us, you know, telling off or gone mental or anything. So everybody's kind of in suspense, waiting for that. That's rubbish. You've had a chance. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're on edge waiting as a kid for a telling off because you know you've done something. It was kind of that, like, suspense on the bus. It was coming and everyone was like, oh my God, he's coming. This is it. Brace yourself. And he just comes to the back of the bus, calm as Larry, just goes, you know what, lads? We can't do anything about that. It's gone. Yes, it would have been nice to go up that way and been champions or finish second. But you know what? There's nothing better than going to Wembley and winning. I've done it 3 times. And it's the most unbelievable feeling. And he said, I completely believe in you guys that you can go and win that game or win the playoffs, win it by the playoffs and go up. So, you know what? Have your weekend off. See you on Monday for training. We go again. We have fun. We're together. We're a team. I love you all. And I'll see you on training. And it was just like, and then he just walked off.
Perfect.
And it was just like, yeah. And it was just like, you just saw all the lads just like, you just saw, and then you just like, everybody was like, yeah, we can, you know, we can do it. Like, and then training he made. I remember when we came back to training, we got to training, he was like, you need your trainers. So we were like, oh, he was like, we're going to go to Blackpool. We're going to train on the beach. So everybody's like all thinking, oh my God, he's running us, man. He's running us. Like, we're going to do running. Don't like running up sand dunes and stuff. Get there. He puts out 4 cones and he goes, right, we're playing foot baseball. So basically 2 teams and it was baseball, football, right? So he'd serve or cricket, football. So he'd serve and then you kick it and then you got to run around, right? We played that for 2 hours on the beach and then went back, had dinner and then we went and then we trained the rest of the week. But doing that was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing because it brought us all together. We had an unbelievable laugh because some people couldn't do it or they fell in the sea or whatever, you know what I mean, clowning about. Like, and it was just, it brought us together and we kicked on from there. It was just amazing. It was just like to think of that and just to do that when we had such an important game coming up in like a week. our first game in the playoffs. It was like to do that and take one of your training sessions away to do that. But the plus side of it, it brought us like as an absolute unit, brought us together, made us laugh, made us like, yeah, you know what, come on now, let's do this. And then, let's be honest, we absolutely blew the playoffs away. Like, I've never been involved in anything like that. Like, you know, Jermaine just turns up. And I always remember in the playoffs, and we were going out for the first game, and it was against
Chesterfield.
Chesterfield in the playoffs. And I remember we played them away first.
Yeah.
And I started that game. And I remember Jermaine saying, looking at me, because we were all a bit nervous, like, because we'd been there and seen him before, and as you do, pre-game nerves. And I remember him just grabbing me and going, I got this, man, watch. I'm going to show you guys I've got this. And then he goes out, smashes it, smashes the next one, and then absolutely smashes it out of the park at Wembley. And it's just like, wow, this guy, man, honestly, this guy's a different breed, but it's just amazing. But again, at Wembley, yes, Jermaine gets the hat-trick. Yes, Jermaine gets applauded. Yes, Jermaine. But Joe Garner that day was immense. John Welsh that game.
John Welsh made such an important tackle before we scored the first goal, I think.
Yeah.
They were about to counter-attack and he got stuck in.
So John was unreal. Garnes was unreal. He sets up Jermaine, I think, for a couple. The back three, back four were unbelievable. Killer was out of this world. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those where it was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, and I'd played every game, same as, I don't think Lady started that game either. And his wing-backs had played every single game that season, every game we'd played, and then got dropped for Wembley.
Callum Woods came in at left back, was it? And then Park played right, and with like a sort of was it a diamond in midfield?
It was. But what can you do? The man knew what he was doing. He had 3 previous promotions. He knew what he was doing at Wembley, and he did it. Yeah. And it was just an unbelievable experience. And obviously the bus journey on the way home was just phenomenal. And then it pulled up right outside Baluga. And I knew the owners at Baluga there, so I'd sorted out for all the lads. Pulled up at the back. Yeah. We all had our suits on and our medals and everything. And I remember just walking through Baluga at like 1:30 in the morning, and it was just absolutely ram-packed. They had a table for us at the back. We kind of had our promotion party there, and it was just phenomenal, to be honest. It was unbelievable experience.
How long did that night go on for then?
To be fair, mine and Jermaine's missus and that, and a few other boys' missus were out already in there.
Yeah.
And then I just remember the lights going off at 3, them kicking out, and then because we knew the owner, like he did kind of a private thing, and then he put music back on. I don't think we got home until 7. We managed to get Kerry's mum up to watch the kids, I think it was, and it was just some experience. Like, it was unbelievable.
I think going back to that team talk you had on the bus after Colchester, I think the fans could have done with some of that, because Colchester, I went to that one. That is a long trip. Like that, it was like a few trains, a few buses to get to that ground, and we were all there. Just we wanted that pitch invasion because Colchester stayed up, didn't they? And they had a pitch invasion. We wanted that, and obviously, as I'm sure you were made aware at the time, our record in the playoffs was just that bad.
Oh yeah, horrendous.
Even though we were so much better than Chesterfield and probably a better side than Swindon, we just didn't back ourselves. And
you know what the thing is as well, which was a surreal moment for me, sitting on the bench, so you could feel it, is even though when we went 2-0 up at Wembley, it didn't feel like we were winning, because obviously the pain that the fans had been through, it was like that. It was still in the minds, we're going to lose this. And then we went 3-0 up, we're going to lose. And 4, even at 4-0.
I think just about then, I remember half-time it was
and then
3-0.
At 4-0, and as the time went down, and then we'd won, like, there was only 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left. Then you could see the fans like, but I felt so sorry for them.
It was a weird one because we were just so used to disappointment, and then obviously Hunt scored like in the 3rd minute or something. Yeah, we were just like, is that happening? I remember being on the concourse at half time getting a beer, and we were 3-0 up, and it wasn't mad. Everyone was just looking at each other like, is this really happening? We're actually winning 3-0 at Wembley, and I think we only started celebrating. I remember really well. Joey Garner was like shielding the ball, and he won a corner or a throw in or something in the 70th minute, and he just turned to the crowd and like fist pumped like all the North End fans. I think that's finally when we're like, we're winning this. We're actually going to win.
Yeah.
It was just relief. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable thing for me. Obviously, I'd been at Wembley twice and lost.
To get the win,
so to finally get there and win, even though I didn't play that game, and I was kind of gutted because I felt like I hadn't took part. And I remember Simon coming up to me afterwards and saying, "Look, I'm so sorry I dropped you, but I just felt I just needed to go a bit more defensive with Killer. He can get on the ball a bit more and make things happen." And he said, "Please don't feel that you've not helped because you've been a phenomenal part of this season to get us here in the first place. So, you've more than done your part." And like, obviously, he didn't need to say that. This is why I'm still very close with Simon. And some players will say, "Yeah, but he's this and he's that." But for me, like, I can't speak. I can't stop speaking highly of the man because little things like that mean a lot to football players. There's he didn't have any reason to come over and say that to me. Like, I didn't ask him. He felt that he needed to say that. And, we've just won at Wembley. He's just got another promotion. He could have been off celebrating, doing his own thing. But to take 5 minutes out of his time to say those words goes a long way. So, I think people will knock every manager's man management skills. I think they can't keep every player happy. So players will say about managers, "Oh, well, yeah, it might be like that with you, but he wasn't like that with me. He was this and he's that." But I don't think you can keep. It'll be impossible to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
But for me, just speaking off my personal experiences, I couldn't speak more happily about him because he managed me well. He looked after me and he talked to me, and that was the key thing. He talked to me.
It's nice to hear those things because obviously, getting that sort of viewpoint from you, because you don't find out those things really unless you speak to players like yourself. Just one last thing on that season. Obviously, we had Man United in the FA Cup earlier on, took the lead through Lairdy's goal. You played the full game there, I think, on the wing, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What were your memories of that? I mean, when Lairdy scored that, Deepdale was bouncing. That was up there at top moment.
It was unbelievable, and still to this day, that game annoys me. Could have sworn then, but that game annoys me because we got cheated out of that game.
Yeah.
Like, Clarkey gets pushed in the back by Fellaini for the header, and then Rooney dives, and it's just like, no,
he even admitted diving, didn't he? He even admitted
he did, yeah. And if you look back at the goal when Fellaini scores, he's pushed Clark in the back.
Yeah.
And it just shows that all the big teams get those sort of decisions, but what we were very good at, what Simon had implemented, is we were very solid. So we were solid first and then played from that when we could.
Yeah.
And with the 3-5-2, because he had wing-backs that were workhorses, so we were up and down, but he kind of transformed me into kind of a right-back, if I'll be honest. And he improved my defensive game because I was always an out-and-out attacker. And when I came to Preston, he kind of changed my game to be able to defend as well. And I'll never forget it because when we played United, we had, on my side, I had Di Maria and I had Luke Shaw. And obviously we didn't have wingers because we were playing 3-5-2. So I was marking these two guys. I was like, wow, this is immense. Like, this is United. I'm up against Di Maria and Luke Shaw. But kind of handled it because of the way we played.
Yeah.
And we were just solid, and they couldn't break us down. They couldn't break us down at all. And when Lairdy scored, I thought, because whenever we scored, whenever Simon's team scored first, it was very rarely that we lost because we could always call upon how solid we were, if that makes sense. So teams couldn't break us down hardly and score against us, most of the times. So when we scored against them and then did it, it was like we all had that feeling of we've won this. If we scored first, we all had that we've won because they're not going to break us down. We just defend for 90 minutes, Jose style. You know what I mean?
Was it ever? I think one of the things under Grayson that fans perhaps got annoyed was that it seemed like we tended to sit back once we got that lead. Was that the case? Did you think like if we defend now, job's done, or did you feel like we'd go on and get the second?
That was it. What I think is it was management of the game. It was managing the game. It was just like, if we scored, why are we going to rush and score again and be open? What we're going to do, we scored. Let us be solid first. Let us play a bit. And then if an opportunity comes about, then we'll take it. Because back then we had strikers that, listen, you just give them a chance in the box, it's a goal. And we knew that. So why rush and score? Like, I know City and them kind of teams do it, but they've got amazing players to do that. When we scored, why are we rushing to go and score again? And at home, we played a different way. Yeah, we played the 3-5-2, but we played it more attacking away. We almost set up for a draw and always got a goal. And it was that's what got us to the playoffs so many times, because we were solid away from home. We either got a point or we got 3 points. We very rarely left with no points. Yeah, and obviously we were winning at home over and over and over again because we played with more attacking players at home. Like DJ would come into the team, Callum would come into the team, more flair players. And in a way, we'd have like the Welshies and we'd have the Killers, and we couldn't be brought. So he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. And obviously,
wasn't it?
Yeah, and it worked. And like I say, you got Alex Neil now that plays that more attacking style football. But I bet you Preston fans wish that he had a bit more solidarity like Simon did. Still play his way, but I just don't think that they're as solid as we were.
No, not especially not at that level. No.
Yeah. So it was just, so I just think that his, especially against United, they couldn't break us down. And I always remember we played, I think it was the FA Cup, we played Middlesbrough away. And we did the same thing, and they just scored a jammy goal at the end. But all the way up to 70 minutes, I remember playing solid at Middlesbrough, couldn't break us down, couldn't get through the gaps. And I remember after 70 minutes, they were actually moaning at themselves, like shouting at them. And like they give the ball away. And they're like, I'm trying. I can't get through there. Or I can't. I can't. Where am I meant to go? What am I meant to do? You know what I mean? And it was like we were laughing because
it was helping you, innit?
Yeah. And that gives you confidence then to go, right, you ain't getting past. This is at Middlesbrough away. So you know what? Yeah, we'll take a 0-0 back to Deepdale. Then we'll go for you at Deepdale. Because you're away now. So it's a different, it's a different scenario for you. And that's what we did most of the time. Away would be solid, and if we got a point, excellent. And if we got 3, unbelievable. And at home we'd go, right, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Makes sense. It makes sense. We'll get on to Alex Neil in a bit, but your first season in the Championship then, injuries started to creep in. Like I think you were still, a solid part of the squad. But how did you find our first season in the Championship in yours?
Yeah, well, that season of the playoffs, I had when we went up at Wembley, I had a shin break. So I actually played 8 months that season with a broken shin, which no one really knows. Yeah, no one really knows that. But not a fracture. So I had a big fracture in it. Yeah. And it was Simon that actually said, "Look, we need you. Like, do you mind like finishing this season off, and then sorting it out after?" And I said, "Yeah, we'll do that." And he really looked after me, like with training twice a week. And me and Jermaine, because if you remember, Jermaine had that thing on his arm. Yeah. So he could only train as well. So Jermaine and I used to do gym work. From Monday to Thursday, and then we used to train Thursday, Friday, and then play on Saturday. But yeah, so I'd played with that for 8 months, and obviously shouldn't have, so made it 10 times worse. Yeah. And ended up going for the scan. So that first season in the Champ, I didn't really play because I went from my operation out of season, came back halfway through the season, played 3 or 4 games in the Champ, and then they signed McGeady. And obviously Simon was like, look, we have to play him because of the wages you're paying. But listen, I don't want you to leave. Like, you've been an important player for me. I'd like you to stay and be a squad player. We're going to be rotating, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, look, I love that, Simon, but I hope you appreciate this as well. Like, I've just come back from injury. And for my own career, I need to go and play games regularly because I need to get my name back out there again to be able to get a move from there.